Okay, ready to go. All right, welcome back, everybody. Let me take just a moment for you over the internet that are watching. We want to let you know about the product again. This is part one. It's already been done. This is the seminar we did about a month ago that was live streamed over the internet. Setting your financial house in order. In this package, you get all the CDs from all 8 sessions of teaching. You get, and there's 6 CDs. Is that how many there are in here? 6 CDs and DVDs. You also have to look at me. That's bad, but you have to do that. You get the DVDs. You get the syllabus. That's all of my notes. There's a lot of the notes are kind of fleshed out a little more than we even talked about them in here. So you can get that in the syllabus. CDs, DVDs, everything for $75. Then part 2, what we're doing this week, yesterday and today, will be available shortly for $35. So the whole package with tax and everything is about $118. You can get it, you can order it at charisbiblecollege.org. You can go to the store and you can order it right online. They'll ship it right out to you. Is that good? All right. Thank you. I'm so. Oh yeah, the software. I forgot the software. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, the software that we demonstrated yesterday called Basic Sense. It's really designed to help you get some discipline into your finances, okay? It's not an end-all tool. It won't do all the work for you. You're going to have to build your profile. You're going to have to keep your profile updated, but it will bless you if you'll use it properly. Okay. All right, now let's do a little bonus thing. Now, let me tell you why I decided to do this. I sort of crammed hour 1 and hour 2 into hour 1 so that I could do this. I just did this morning in the business school. So if you business school students want to leave, you're not going to hurt my feelings. You just heard this morning. But if you ask my advice, it won't hurt you to hear it twice. But here's why I'm doing this, guys. I know this was supposed to be a personal financial seminar, and I'm usually really good about staying on track, staying on message. I've had people write me letters, not just emails. Most everybody will just write you an email these days, right? I've had letters from people in Michigan and Indiana and other places who are just crying out for some help with their businesses. And so basically I'm going to teach this in response to a letter that I got, I think from Michigan, about some business issues, and I think this will bless you. This is called the 4 processes of a successful business. Those of you that have heard it, do you recommend hearing it again? I mean, it will help you guys. Okay. Now so now I want you to switch your thinking a little bit. We're more into a business frame of mind. We're going to be talking about how things operate in a business. Now, here's what I tell people. If you work these 4 processes in your business, you will be successful. Not maybe. You will be. There's no way to fail using these 4 processes. At least let me say it this way. You've got to work real hard to fail if you're going to work these and work them properly. So we're going to look at them one at a time. The first thing you have to do in any business is what we call quantify. Quantify. You got to know the numbers. You have to do research. You have to understand your business or your ministry. This goes for ministries too, guys. These 4 processes, let me tell you something. There's a church right now today that was started in Denton, Texas by a dear friend of mine who used my business plan outline to start a ministry, and he uses these processes in his church, and he's been phenomenally successful with it. You're going to see why as we go through it. So what do I mean by quantify? Now I'm going to, we only have so much time, so I'm going to use an example to help us see this, okay? I want you to imagine with me that you and I are in the clothing business, and we're going to sell clothes. Now, I actually read a research report, an experiment that was done by The Limited. Anybody know who The Limited is? Okay. I actually know the guy who was a former senior manager with The Limited, CEO, who's a good friend of mine, and very successful guy, has built some very big companies. These are the processes they use. So what you do, you quantify. Here's what that means. And let me just say this. You cannot quantify too much. You can't gather too much data for your business. It's impossible. So here's what you do. They would count the people that came into their store. Imagine that one clothing store in a strip mall somewhere. People are coming in. Does The Limited sell mostly women's clothes? I think somebody told me this morning. Okay. So you got probably a lot of women coming in and 2 or 3 men. But you got all these people coming in. And So you got to count them, quantify. Who's coming in your store? How much on average are they spending in your store? What time of the day do they come into your store? What is the demographic? Where do they live? How far do they drive to get to your store? Who are they? What are their ages? What are their professions? This is quantification. Everything you can possibly learn and find out about your customer, you want to do this. I don't care what kind of business you're in. And I think somebody wrote me a letter and they're in the agriculture business. Doesn't matter. This is very broad in its use. As a matter of fact, almost any successful company today is going to use some form of what I'm about to teach you. So you got to quantify and you got to know the numbers. Now, the next thing you do is innovation. Innovation is simply changing the methods or the ways you're doing business or ministry which produce a desired result. It's pretty simple, isn't it? So here's what I'm talking about. I want to show you what they did in this particular store. Now you guys tell me how many times you've heard this. I need somebody to be my customer. Will you be my customer? Okay. She's coming in the store here and I'm a salesperson. So I walk up to her and I shake her hand and I say, "Hi, how are you doing today? May I help you, please?" And when you say, "Yes," you're going to let me help you. See, now she's very unusual because you know what most people say? "No thanks, I'm just looking." You're an exception. Did you know that I've done this? I can't tell you how many times I've done this and you're the first person who ever said yes. That's true. I did it this morning. Catherine, was you were my customer, and you know what she said? "No thanks, I'm just looking." That's right. So here's what I want to submit to you. The words that came out of my mouth, "May I help you please," is a marketing phrase. It's intended to start a sale process. Can I submit to you it don't work?
Yes.
You go in, everybody uses it. How many times? You probably heard it 3 or 4 times this month, right? So you go into these places, they always say that, right? So here's what they did. They let their salespeople continue using the phrase, "May I help you please," and for a 6-week period of time, they quantified the result. So that's what's called a benchmark. That's information, that's facts. And I don't have time to teach you everything we've been learning in business school, but let me just tell you something. Without the facts, you sunk. You got to have benchmarks and facts to work from. So here's what they did. They said, okay, they did this for 6 weeks. They didn't change anything else they were doing, and they quantified the results. So now they found out that they made X dollars in sales by doing that. Then, for another 6-week period, here's what they did. They told their salespeople, when somebody walks into the door, you don't say, "May I help you, please?" Here's what you say. "Hi, how are you doing today? Have you ever been in our store before?"
Yes.
Great. Because just today, we have a program for all repeat customers, and you get 15% off everything in the store. Right? Now watch. Now say no this time. Have you ever been in our store before?
No.
Great. We have a program today for all of our new customers, and you get 15% off of everything in the store today. Got it? Here's what I'm doing, guys. I'm creating a relationship with her, a sales relationship. So now here's what I do. Once I do that, I said, "Come and let me show you some of the things we've got in the store that we're doing. It's in our program today." Now here's what you want to do. You make sure you've got programs designed for both sides. Don't lie to anybody. You don't have to be dishonest to do this. Just make sure you got your programs created. So then what they did was they did this for 6 weeks. They quantified the result. They got a 16% increase in sales by changing the words that come out of their mouth. 16%. That's significant, very significant. What did they do? They simply changed the method of the way they were doing business. How much did it cost? That's the kind of innovations I like, the ones that cost nothing. That won't always happen to you, but when it does, it's a blessing. So now here's what they did. They said, "Well, that worked pretty good. Let's try to innovate again. What can we do?" So here's what they did. Somebody had been doing some research and study on colors and shapes. If you know anything about business today, there's a guy named Lou Cheskin that's written a book about colors and shapes and marketing. It's a big deal out there in the marketing world now. People buy because of colors and shapes. McDonald's, brightly lit stores and colors are there for a reason. Okay? McDonald's is a perfect business franchise prototype. That is what is successful in business. This is what I'm teaching the people in the business school. If you're going to build a successful business, you build a business franchise prototype. I don't have time to teach what all that is, but you know what it is. Why do people go back to McDonald's? My wife makes a lot better hamburger. But she don't sell billions of them. You know what the difference is in my wife's hamburger at McDonald's? They have a business system that delivers the hamburgers. Consistently, the same way every time. The French fries can only stay under the heat lamp for 7 minutes. If they stay 8, they get soggy. That's not a McDonald's French fry. You go to Hamburger U to learn how to do this. So they've built, Ray Kroc, who owned McDonald's, founded it, built systems. So the systems run the business and people run the systems. You want a successful business? That's the way you do it. You build systems and you bring in people. Here's what we do. This is what we say at our companies. You hire for character, you train for skill. If you have a business system in your organization that works, then you can hire people to run your systems at the lowest level of skill. It saves your company a lot of money. So now watch this. There are 40,000 McDonald's restaurants in the world run by teenagers. Why? Because it's a business system. Everything's documented. Everything is taught. This is the way you do it. Let me tell you something. You leave the French fries under the heat lamp more than 7 minutes about 3 times, you're gone. This our way or the highway. So when we're talking about innovation, the colors and shapes, they started looking at this and they said, okay, let's do this. Let's do an experiment for 6 weeks. Let's tell our salespeople to wear kind of earth tones. You know, just nothing too spectacular, just browns and greens and earth tones and stuff. So they did that, and they quantified the result. Then for the next 6 weeks, they had their people dress in bright colors. Blue blazers and power ties for the guys and, you know, pretty bright colors for the women and all this kind of thing. And so they did that. They quantified the result over a 6-week period of time. They got another 10% increase in sales just by changing their clothes. Wonder what taking a shower would do. So here, listen, now they've increased their sales 26%. So once they do this, now let me show you something right quick before I move on. Tell you what else they did. Watch this. Once you innovate, then you standardize. Standardization is the elimination of discretion or choice. This is the way you do it. You don't have a choice. Why are we being so arrogant about our way of doing it? Here's why. It works.